they should literally have like this girl having like a white woman.
Yes.
Having a miscarriage on the toilet. And she's like crying and she's like on the phone with the doctor.
And her kids are having a birthday party.
No. And she's like having a miscarriage and then like on the toilet and she's like crying. And then like she calls the emergency line and they're like talking her through it. And then she's like finally gets through it. She's going down. She's laying in for bed. And then they get a knock on the door and it's the police dragging her out because they think she did a home abortion.
And you get like a shot of the doctor shaking their
Rachel, can you do some little like serpentine movement there? A little bit kind of sexy, but kind of classy too. Let's keep it.
Oh, the head bob was not cute. No. You look like Adam right now. In a bad way. Love you, Adam.
In a bad way.
Because he only dances like that when he's joking. You didn't have to say the bad way
part. Yeah.
Well, because he only dances like that when he's joking.
That is an Adam move.
Yeah, she does. He does. He's like...
Is he like me where like I don't dance unless it's joking? Like that's how
dance.
I have to hide.
No, Adam,
okay, he
can dance.
Real?
He can dance.
Okay.
We were just like drunk by the pool and he's like having a grand time.
Had a little hip movement.
Yeah.
I didn't say I couldn't dance.
Well, you kind of did.
But I can't dance.
You kind of did.
Can you merengue?
All right.
Yeah.
Hi.
Finito.
We're done.
We're going to start. So our first Reddit is this human that I was intrigued by into the deep dive on their stuff. And a lot of the posts I had originally saw like a month ago before I remembered that I wanted to talk about this are pulled off of the threads, not by the poster, but by the accounts. So we're going to read these two posts that she wrote and talk about them.
Okay. I'm like excited and nervous. Okay. Being a hopeless romantic black woman is hell on earth. As a young girl, I dreamed of being a bride and beloved wife someday more than anything else. I was and still am obsessed with rom-coms, romance books, and all things love and being with the right man. I know it's not very feminist of me, but that's what I want, even now with a stable career. As I grew into my teens, I watched girls get crushes and be crushed on back, be asked out and pursued and taken to prom and etc., while my two black girlfriends and I were the only ones not dating or experiencing anything, even in our diverse school. I realized from boys our own race that it was because of race. My brain can't listen to it and read.
It's the ADHD.
Almost every...
Wait, hold on. I got to interject one thing.
Okay.
I read on another post that she did that I'm not going to pull up on here that she is West Indian. So she's like Caribbean descent. She called it Caribbean descent.
It is important to know.
How do you know that it's the same person? Like the username is the same across them?
You click on the user. You can click on someone's username on Reddit, and then you can look at everything they ever posted.
Okay, so she used the same account.
Yes, okay. She used the same account.
Wow.
Oh.
I mean, it's anonymous. It's not like she was like, I hate men, but she.
But
I hate men. Fake post.
No, but we do. Almost every below average woman of another race has a higher chance at love than the average black woman. I'm thin and take care of myself, but I'll still never be enough as we are seen as the worst/least desirable women on earth and hated by most men, including my own race, who I have trauma from due to being degraded by black men most of my youth. Unless we are lighter skinned, black women and girls are seen as the scum on the bottom of society's shoe. A lot of black girls' low self-esteem is a result of our counterparts even more than racism. The dating app stats, I think, made things even worse because now people use them to further degrade us and mock us, and there's not much argument against it. We are considered ugly and unlovable and expected to deal with it, and there's no empathy for us, especially on social media. Hatred for us is completely normalized. I would be able to accept being forever alone more if men didn't outright hate us for existing.
So when you read this, I just want to say she's also comes across as like very clearly dark skinned because she's talking about like unless you're lighter skinned girls. I do think it would be ridiculous to act like there's not a preference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there definitely is. There's colorism's real.
All of that.
And I just read this and I feel like not every black man hates black women.
Most black women.
Not every white man does.
No, but she's talking specifically about how black men made it worse. Like black men are the ones. It feels like the unwritten thing of this is like black men were supposed to love us no matter what, and they don't, or like they don't like me, or they don't like whatever.
I don't get how the being a hopeless romantic thing ties into. I mean, I can like guess why it ties into the rest of it, but
I feel like the hopeless romantic thing, I'm making up a story in my head, but the story that's coming to mind is that she has a certain way she wants to be approached and treated by men that's really rigid. And she probably sees women who are not Black women like posting online about maybe getting those things, like the kind of sweep you off your feet, stay at home.
Does she want to be love bombed?
Maybe. It's giving that. So you see this and you're like, okay, maybe this is just like a one-off. She had like a hard day. But let's look at the next one. Any other Black virgins here? I'm a Black woman who is still a virgin at 25, as embarrassing as it is. I feel like people of our race, especially women, are seen as hypersexual and oversexualized while still being considered undesirable. It sucks because I'm a hopeless romantic, but because I'm Black, my virgin status is not seen as purity or innocence, like with women of other races, but dysfunctional/unattractiveness. I've never seen a relationship not out of choice. I've never been in a relationship not out of choice. I've never met a man that's been interested in dating me, but I'm still a virgin and not getting any younger. I'd like to get it over with before I get too old and lose any appeal. So I'm just going to look for a casual hookup this summer and be done with it. The thing that comes to mind from both of these posts.
Are we reading the comment under this?
We can, but we'll get to it in a second. The thing that comes to mind with both of these posts is that like she also believes in like a lot of these really like toxic patriarchal tropes that she believes are bringing her down. She also believes in them. Like she's saying like, it has to be because I'm Black, because I'm skinny, because I'm not a whore, because,
right. There's like fat phobia in there. There's like whorephobia in there, like all those things.
Because I have like self-respect. Like if I have the things that men claim that they want, so it must be because I'm a Black woman. I'm
being a pick me and nobody's picking me.
Yes. And it must be because I'm Black, because there's no other reason that this wouldn't be working. And I feel like being 25 and being a virgin works against you in terms of having casual sex, because men become, the older you get, the longer you've held off on having sex. I think men equate that to it having more value to you. And so if they're a man of like any level of decency at all, they're going to feel a lot of pressure in taking your virginity. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing like you're really rigid, and you probably have really just how you have kind of rigid expectations of what it should be like to be in a relationship or to be a woman who's attainable or like beautiful or pure. Like you probably also have really rigid expectations of how men should behave. And I'm guessing that that's like turning people off. Colorism is definitely real and definitely part of the equation. And
it definitely
what I've seen in my own personal experience is that like there are a lot of men who find Black women, dark-skinned Black women, super attractive and really want to have sex with them, but maybe where the colorism piece comes in is seeing a future with them or being with them publicly or long-term, which is horrific and horrible.
It's more
and like, I totally think that if you gave off the energy of I want to fuck with no expectation, you could lose your virginity tonight.
Somebody will fuck you.
Tonight.
It's so interesting that you picked this, because yesterday I was watching TikTok and there's this new trend going around where Black women, mostly Black women, are talking about how they changed their status on Hinge to white and how different men pop up. Different Black men, different men of color.
To be fair, on Hinge, you can pick race. Do you pick a race when you were on Hinge? Because I did.
Yeah.
What did you pick? No, you can pick you're choosing who you want to see, you can pick what race you want to see.
No, you can. And if you change your race.
No. But what I'm saying is that,
she's Black.
Of course, wait. What I'm saying is, as the Hinge, for people who aren't on Hinge, as a Hinge user previously, I've been in a relationship for a couple years, but as a Hinge user previously, when you go on Hinge, you fill out your own profile, but on top of filling out your own profile, you fill out a preference sheet that does not show publicly. It's private, so nobody else sees it, and you say what you want on the sheet. And so if people are picking white or something, then of course, you changing your demographics is going to change who you get, because people are picking based on demographics. That's the private part of Hinge that nobody sees. That's why men who are 5'8" or something will be like, I don't get a lot of matches, because there's a lot of women privately putting in what they want to see as 6 foot and above.
No. I get that. That's what I'm saying.
But I was like explaining it to general public.
Yeah. That's true. Because
if you're not on Hinge, you're like, what? You can do that? Because that's crazy. shocked they haven't been sued.
Is it crazy?
I'm surprised. Yeah.
I'm actually not. I actually thought that was kind of normal.
So I don't know. I thought those things were interesting. It's just like, I feel like she's operating from the framework that she hates. Like her thoughts, the way she thinks about the world is very parallel to the world she hates.
This is literally when people say why, like, internalized, like, patriarchy, internalized misogyny and stuff, this is the shit that will kill you.
Talk about it more for people who don't just, like, hear that and feel filled up.
Like, I know, because I just was like, that's literally, this is it. So for people who...
Everyone who doesn't follow I Heart Erica, explain it for them.
I know, I don't have to explain it that well. But I feel like when women are kind of, or anybody are kind of spouting, I don't even mean spouting, but talking about, you know, different reasons why they wanted to be in a relationship or reasons why they are eligible to be in a relationship, it's like coaxing men to come and like see me, choose me, love me, that thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like, I don't even feel like there is a judgment there, but
of course there's judgment there.
Like I get what you're doing, whatever. But
to say I'm thin is crazy.
No, I was like, girl,
I'm not some fat fucking pig.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
why
that's...
don't you love me?
But I judge men because they are superficial. But don't worry, in all the other categories besides race, I fall into your superficialness. Don't worry, I got myself there.
They're too superficial, and I don't even make it in there. And she's like calling out anti-blackness and calling out like misogyny and all these things, and like kind of calling out misogynoir, which is like,
you know how I saw her initially? She got kicked out of 2 X chromosomes, which is like a feminazi kind of Reddit. It's like they hate black men on there. They hate men on there. Sorry, not sorry. And people will probably see this and be like, no. But like literally you scroll through it and like it just is like it's not even like the hate of... It's not even the hate of men that's really annoying. It's just like, this is supposed to be like all women. And like the only thing you're connecting over is like your hate of men. Yeah. Like, can you guys just give a fuck about something else besides men?
Yes.
Like exactly. That's the least empowering thing, is to spend all of your energy talking about men. That is so disempowering. Like this is annoying. But she got kicked out because she wrote in there like, biracial women aren't black women. And then she was like, this is supposed to be a safe space for us. And I just don't understand why they just won't make it safe.
Why won't they make it safe? Which is like your whole thing with their
why won't they make it safe?
Well, not even that, but it's like, again, like your framework is that safe spaces are important, right? Which is the exact same framework that the Redditor thread people thought. And they said, this made the space unsafe. Mm-hmm. You just like, it's like people just want their cake and eat it too.
Oh God! You just wrote the title for the biography of our country right now.
Yeah.
Is anyone else getting the?
Wait, hold on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, this was the other part that was so misogynistic that I wanted to vomit. I'd like to get it over with before I get too old and lose any appeal.
Yes.
Too old is one thing, because too old means 25. Like too old could mean like, hey, like I don't want, the older I get, the weirder it is I'm a virgin. But the lose any appeal is like women over 30 are ugly.
Yes. And that to me is like, that's like some, I'm like, girl, in this day and age, you're still thinking like that? Like,
yes. Because she believes in all of the things that she's been sold. She just is so pissed that she can't hack the system. She's pissed.
I feel like at a certain point, there was a certain point where she was supposed to realize that that shit isn't like, will never work for you.
No.
That like patriarchy and misogyny are going to impact you no matter what.
This is her version of stepping out of it by being critical of it, even though she's basing all of her value on it.
Do you think she knows that she's stepping out of it, or trying?
She thinks she's stepping out of it. Yes, she's anti it. She thinks she's the anti.
Does anyone else get the vibe of like, of her having a dad who just like spouts toxic shit like this, just constantly?
100%. 100%. I get the vibe that like my dad told me that like if I wasn't a whore and like I was valuable in these ways, like men, I was going to get my husband, and I didn't, and I'm pissed.
It also gives that her family or somebody close to her told her that she was like mid, like not very pretty.
I'd say mid would be a compliment for her.
Like,
that's how she's acting.
That's how she acts, right?
She acts like she looks like she chews on rocks.
Yeah.
A long time.
All right, next Reddit. From 2X chromosomes, which our previous Sunsista was cut out of. My ex keeps joking, in quotes, that he would kill me. I'm starting to get a bit scared. I didn't actually read this, so I'm very intrigued to see if I think it's legitimate or if she's self-involved. I'm very interested. Okay.
Giving a second.
My ex and I still live together and can't afford to move out until the end of next month. For context, on our first date, we watched Jeffrey Dahmer together, and he joked that he was going to cut me up and put me in a suitcase. It became an inside joke between us as I told my friends about it, and they also made jokes and were confused why I wanted to see him again after he said it. That's a joke I would make.
Yeah, I feel like that's fine.
However, during our relationship, he showed me that he has many anger issues, and although he didn't necessarily abuse me physically, he showed many violent outbursts that triggered my PTSD from growing up severely abused.
Wait, this is like this is like so many steps.
Wait, hold on. He would smash things when he gets upset or grab me really hard. Twice he grabbed my neck really hard, and I saw anger in his eyes, but he later claimed it was a, quote, joke. He would physically restrain me really hard. It hurts. If I ever do things he doesn't approve of, or if I want to leave the house / bed during an argument.
Ooh.
This guy's fucking hilarious.
This turned quickly. Yeah, At first I was like, girl, you self-involved. And now I'm like, nah, run.
Yeah, get out.
Run for your life.
Absolutely.
Get the fuck out.
Anybody who snatches you up and is like, I was kidding is crazy. Because you're asking me to believe in your alternate reality. It's one thing
you're
like
switching immediately. That shit's weird.
We both know that doesn't exist. So you asking me to jump in is nuts. Like, but no, really. You're like, no.
You would really slit my throat.
Ever since I broke up with him, he's been begging to come back, going through phases of going above and beyond to earn my approval and periods of just pure hatred where he'd say horrible things in an attempt to hurt me or make me insecure. That's a lot of men. He's also been increasingly frustrated if I don't kiss him or have sex with him, even though he's accepted we're not together anymore. He still wants me to act like we're still together and say I love you. I've been kissing him even though I didn't really want to, just so he gets off of me. It's clear I don't want it, and that frustrates him too. However, I couldn't force myself to sleep with him, and that's been making him passive-aggressive or outright aggressive.
Ooh, I don't like that.
I feel like he's going to you.
Yeah.
That's coming. That's coming.
He's like building up.
That's getting off easy, right?
No, but I'm saying like soon, like number one is
fine.
First is
you've been teasing me. Ugh, I can't.
He's been increasingly making jokes about him, quote, killing me, and how if he can't have me, no one can. He makes edgy jokes like that all the time. He doesn't do drugs, alcohol, or anything. He's very responsible otherwise and is very careful with consequences. That lets me know you think he's calculating. Very careful with consequences? Come on, girl.
I just thought that. So
that thought has been calming me down. Well, he won't kill you on an accident out of a rage, but will he kill you in a planned way? You're telling me that's what I'm hearing with the like, he doesn't do drugs and alcohol. Great. He's not going to black out and murder you.
He's going to be all in his right mind, bitch. So he's psychotic. Jeez.
So the thought has been calming me down. But I also hear her because I also, to be fair to her, I logic my way a lot through like, does this person have self-preservation? Like, would they really ruin their whole life? Mm-hmm. And he's giving kind of, which is not worth the risk. Like, it's kind of...
He's giving obsessed.
Anybody who's giving kind of to you'd ruin your whole life is like, just bail out. Just jump ship. Bro. Jump ship.
Don't wait and see. Don't wait and see.
But at the same time, how many women were killed by their partner, ex-partner that also didn't see it coming? I don't know if it's a gut feeling or I'm just overreacting, but I'm genuinely scared.
If you're on Reddit writing about it, it's time to go.
It's time to go.
TTG, time to go.
Someone else posted, their name is Porn Crank, so I don't know. That may be like some lose a bit of credibility, but they said, he didn't necessarily abuse me physically, and twice he grabbed my neck really hard, physically restrained me really hard, it hurts. This is physical abuse. Oh, yeah. Porn Crank. Do you really think it's a joke? I certainly don't. He's telling you in his words and what he intends to do. The big question is, what do you intend to do?
He didn't necessarily abuse me physically. God. To hear your daughter say that or something like that just would be brutal.
You'd be surprised how many teenagers I've met that have already been choked up or punched by their boyfriend.
So many.
It's insane.
So many.
And almost all of them are getting their ass beat by their daddy. Mm-hmm. The boyfriend's dad is beating the boyfriend's ass, and the boyfriend is like snatching them off during an argument.
Almost every adult I work with has an experience like that.
But this is a side thing. Here's how I feel. I feel like it's really, really hard to like completely cut off a relationship once you broke up, but you already broke up. And so, like, if you're feeling, like, forced to make out with him when you're hanging out with him because you're afraid of what's going to happen after, or these jokes are freaking you out, like, just go no contact. Yeah. Maybe she's afraid to go no contact, but I think that's the move.
If you have support, go stay with support. That's scary.
None of this would worry me if he hadn't put his hands on you.
Yeah.
but he already put his hands on you. And so like there's a huge disconnect with him thinking he can joke like this with you and put his hands on you. It lets me almost know how unserious it is that he's put his hands on you, that he thinks he can joke about killing you after he snatched you up.
And like
that's the two together. That's creepy as fuck.
It is. And like the sexual like deprivation and sexual like forcefulness. I don't like that.
All right, we're done with our Reddit portion.
Okay, so we're gonna pull the stream down, right?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for joining, whoever was here, if any. Now that we're off of YouTube, we can get personal. How are you?
Not great.
If you could give people an elevator speech about what's going on with you.
Yeah, right now I'm just, working and, just dealing with everyday life. That's my elevator speech. No.
You did trauma therapy and you're reeling.
Yeah, I had a heavy therapy session. We did some brain spotting on yesterday. So I'm having a little bit of an emotional hangover, I think.
Definitely.
And go ahead.
I was going to say there's one thing about trauma therapy that's really interesting that it took me a while to learn this concept because I've been doing trauma, like I've been in as a patient for trauma therapy for years, but like you go and you release all this like pent up feelings, thoughts, etc. And then if you don't really know what's going to happen the next day, sometimes you can spend a lot of time trying to focus on like the source of the thoughts and feelings and like what caused it. But it kind of almost feels like as I've been doing trauma therapy long enough, it's actually better to just like let yourself release whatever you kind of brought up and not even think too much about what caused it.
Exactly. Which I'm better at now, but I think there's still this kind of in the back of my head. I have not even the back, it's in the front of my head. It goes like, okay, what are you doing? Like, I've just felt really out of my body and anxious today. And I think it has to do with that. And just, I was saying this to Javae ahead of time. I was kind of doom scrolling on Instagram and Twitter and like taking in all the different like global cultural events happening. And I think I just should have taken a break.
Yeah.
At some point.
You made it worse.
I made it worse.
You were trying to go on your phone to like tap out of life and then life was beating your ass.
It's really like, ming.
Ask me how I'm doing.
How are you doing?
I am feeling pretty drained. I had like a panic attack last night and I got in the tub without water because it was like just cold. I was like laying there, not you shoving down the laugh. I'm just like there. And so I just felt like
that is both suffering.
I just felt today I was just feeling really exhausted. I wasn't even feeling that anxious. I was just feeling kind of tired and like everything was hard today.
Yeah.
Gabe wrote us a really interesting question, which I actually do want to touch on, which is there a limit on how bad therapy should make you feel? I feel like if you're feeling unsafe after session, like you want to die or like give up on life, that's probably like the limit.
Yeah.
Trauma therapy specifically is going to make you feel worse than other things because like you're digging up the things that have made you feel the most awful you've ever felt, and they were overwhelming when you were experiencing them before. So it's really normal for you to like, all right, I'm going to bring this up and kind of process it and try to flush it out of my body. It's normal for that to be a lot. But if you don't have the stability to feel like I still am myself, I'm going to be okay. I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to black out with substances. Like I have the tools to work through this. I can do it. Then I think you're at an okay place.
And hopefully like the trauma therapist, you should be seeing a trauma therapist and like looking at their credentials and looking at what they specialize in and like talking to them about safety and talking to them about what they do in the room to make you safe. And like using a trauma approach is important because they will do certain things to make you comfortable, to kind of help mitigate maybe like dissociating or kind of having like really, really negative effects after session. Like they might talk about, you'll have an emotional hangover, you'll have maybe feelings after session or feeling down or tired, but they're hopefully, bringing you back in a certain way or doing something to ground you after the session or during the session, hopefully.
And ground you would be like, we're going to go back in our mind and our body to a really hard time. And if they're a good trauma therapist, like they will have the tools to make sure that like your mind and body are in the present. Like, yeah, we went and checked on these really horrible things, but like, I just want to make sure before you leave this room, like you still feel like the adult you are who like is in charge of your life. And like, you're not still thinking about X, Y, and Z, right?
You're not back there.
And so the other thing I think with trauma therapy that's important is that some people start with trauma therapy, but most people don't. Most people go to therapy because they're of some other reason, and they find out while they're in therapy that they need this specific intervention.
Yo, me.
For people who go looking for trauma therapy, again, if you have like a trauma therapist who knows what they're doing, they're going to spend so much time on the front end before you even dive into the hard stuff, like making you feel safe with them, teaching you how to know when you're not safe, helping you have skills for when you feel like shit so that you feel okay. Like a good trauma therapist is going to set you up for success on the front end before you even dive into the trauma. So I think that's also an important part.
Exactly. And setting you up for, I like that, setting you up for success. Because when you go into doing the trauma work, whether it's EMDR or NET or brain spotting, what you do EMDR, right? Yeah. Like either way, you're going to come out with some baggage afterwards.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of baggage, something I really wanted to talk about in terms of like life and baggage is I was reading. So how this started actually is I was reading online about I was trying to Google whether or not there's like any research around like people, the general population's mental health being worse during election season. And so I was like seeing a lot of people like being like election anxiety and how to deal with it. But it also kind of all felt like bullshit. Like it just felt like something that was being coined and like threw together to like talk about like how people would experience it. And I'm like, but this doesn't
get to it.
So in order to have it be like diagnosable, you have to be having a situation. You have to be having a reaction to your life or circumstances that we would describe as like an abnormal or maladaptive reaction. It's like a reaction that is like out of the quote ordinary. This is all in quotes, right? And so like to say like
what would that be?
Election. Well, to say that like election anxiety is
it's
like
too grand.
Out of the ordinary is like that probably feels like a healthy reaction to
stress from
the structure of the country. You believing the structure of the country is shifting, whether that's true or not. People will debate that. People will debate that, right? But whether you believe it's true or not, like there's enough out there, I think, to promote the feeling and that you're not like overreacting to feel anxious about what's coming, right?
Right.
So how do we decipher between like a normal level of worried to like I need to diagnose you and you need help, right? So I think that's one. But two, so as I was looking up all of this, not to do like that's irrelevant. We could talk about that another time.
What is it?
I was looking up national statistics were coming up, and there was consistent across the board that people who are multiracial or biracial have the worst mental health in the country.
I'm not opposed to that.
It's true. No, the statistics, it was true.
No. I was just like sitting with it like, okay.
It's true.
Yeah. I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. The highest demographic with mental health is if with adults reporting 2 or more races, 35%. So that's more than a third of the people who have multiple races.
Wow.
Have a diagnosable mental illness.
That's really interesting. This is what I looked at, and for some reason this didn't connect because that's my brain.
Because your brain said, this is about me, blackout.
Literally.
More than young adults. We have a slightly higher percentage than people from 18 to 25, which is like the hardest time of most people's lives. So, if you haven't had significant trauma, like the launching into adulthood is the worst thing ever. 18 to 25. Could you imagine having a healthy childhood that was stable and then having to like go into the real world? Fucking traumatic.
Terrifying.
I can only imagine.
Ugh.
Wasn't my experience. I can only imagine.
It's been great. Literally, all I can think of
is like when you kill yourself in college.
That's over and flunking out 3 fucking times, bro. That among other things. I literally can't stop thinking about my ex saying he was jokingly, but like needling me the same. He would say, well, you're biracial. You're confused.
What are you gonna say, Gabe?
I was gonna say, I'm kind of surprised to see the figure, the females to males. You know that it's that it's that far spread.
That women have a higher rate of mental illness than men.
I thought it'd be higher. I'm surprised by the spread, I guess.
What do you mean by that spread?
27% to 18%. That's a wider gap than what I would have thought.
Okay.
And I would have thought it'd be a little closer. But now I'm wondering, is it because of societal pressure to like men to not report that way? Like, I'm curious how they got that number, I guess. And I don't know that.
Never mind. That either.
Yeah. I don't know either.
No, I mean, so it's basically showing like it shows by gender, age, race, and ethnicity, like how you would be doing mental health wise. And the worst are in terms of gender, it's being a woman. In terms of age, 18 to 25 is considered the worst. And then being biracial is considered the worst. And then second is indigenous. And then third is white people.
Do they talk about the results? Do they talk about reasons?
I did a little bit of other reading about reasons, but I'm curious what comes up for you because we're both biracial. So, I mean, I can tell you what I read about, but I'm more curious what you think because this is literally about you. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt this wonderful check-in, but it got a little too personal. So if you'd like to hear the rest of it, subscribe to us on Patreon. Now, back to the show. Do you want to talk about the next thing? Sonya Massey?
Sure.
Unless there's more you want to say about this.
No, let's go.
Okay. Rachel had texted me saying like we should talk about it. So obviously we should talk about a black woman being murdered, but also it feels hard because it feels like a circular point. Like how many times now it's illegal to be black and boil water, I guess.
Yeah. I really just wanted to like mention it just because it feels like
Do you want me to summarize what happened just like verbally or whatever?
Yeah,
so just to set it up. Mm-hmm. So the woman called because she thought there was a prowler outside her house. Mm-hmm. So called the police for help another time, right? Another case of this. And they looked around, couldn't find anything. The tape, like where it picked up where I saw it, they were telling her that there's no one here. She was kind of, having trouble like, you sure there's no one out there? Which, how much that pisses off cops to be questioned. Well, then the thing that they said that was an odd trigger, like it was kind of done. And then all of a sudden, the guy goes, "What took you so long to answer the door?" And then he starts asking about a car in her driveway. Whose car is that? And then she's like, "I don't know." You don't know whose car's in your driveway? It's just that shit, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what happened in between, but suddenly it cuts to, at least in the version I saw, they're in the house. And they're having it's very lightly contentious. Like it's more like subtext contentious. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like they're saying stuff direct, but just those little whatever things. Mm-hmm. She goes and she's boiling water. And now I'm sorry that I took the liberty to set this up because I wish I knew the details more. But she went to boil water and she's standing on the other side of this kitchen island kind of thing. The cops are back 15, 20 feet. And something was said, and I know her quote was saying,
I rebuke you or something.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. And the first time I watched it, I did not get the impression she was going to throw boiling water on him. Second time I watched it, maybe. But I know.
This is my own prejudice, actually, which is related to what you're talking about in Christianity, actually, is that I don't even know if I should say this, but whatever. Is that when I read that she said that, I thought mental illness, like automatically.
Mm. It's a scary phrase to hear. Like, I mean, for someone to say anything like a weird Jesus, like,
but everybody else
I can see that.
But everybody else on the internet actually didn't have that thought, I think. It's like a normal black thing to say.
Yeah.
Like a regular black, like
she shaded him.
It was a joking thing to say. Exactly.
It wasn't even a joke. It was shady. It was the subcontext of like you're devilish without saying it.
She felt like the energy.
And yet it wasn't her. She wasn't nearly fucking threatening enough to go where it went. Not even close. Yeah. Right.
From what I read, and this could be totally wrong. So because I just skimmed it, I didn't watch the video. But from what I read, like he made a comment about the boiling water before she went over to it too. Like he told her. Like, they made a comment about boiling water, and she went to the boiling water. So it wasn't like they were arguing and she ran to it, was what my impression was based on the articles I read.
Yeah. And I mean, put it this way. They were 15 feet away.
Yeah.
All you got to do is back up.
Yeah.
All you got to do is back up.
And they were backing up.
And well, no, he held his ground, took his gun out.
Right. He came towards her then. That's true.
Yep. And then the worst is after she's shot, she's laying on and you hear she's gasping. It's like, go help her.
Yeah.
And then you hear the guy say like, well, I'm not going to take some boiling water in the face, kind of thing like that. And it's just horrible. Sickening. I don't know. There should be something about if someone calls the police to your house, it just, man, they shouldn't start investigating you.
Yeah. And I saw today, I didn't do much digging on this, but I saw a report by maybe NPR.
Oh, the guy went 6 stations.
Not that, but her daughter, she's a daughter who said that she is a paranoid schizophrenic. Has that diagnosis.
Oh, so, well, that's terrible too. Yeah, but yeah, the cop has been to 6 different precincts, or I'd have to fact check that. But
I heard that too.
Okay.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
I just think this is a classic case of you thought you got to do what you wanted, and the police officer who actually fired the shots was not the one whose body cam was on. He turned his body cam off, so he also probably made those statements thinking that there was no recording. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting dynamic too. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
had one police officer cover his body cam. We were on the road. This was 4 years ago. We were on the road and he covered his body cam, and I literally went into a full panic attack the second his body cam got covered, because to me it just felt like, what's the intention?
Why? Yeah. What was the scenario?
He said I was speeding. He pulled me over. I told him I was coming from work. He was kind of antagonizing as soon as he pulled me over. I was heading towards the suburb. I was living at home at the time. I was in grad school. I was working a shift at the mental health psych unit. I was coming home with my badge on and everything, which
right.
Come on.
Pretty safe person. Right.
Yeah. I look official.
Yeah. And, he pulled me over on this highway intersection, and the side that I was pulled over on, he had to come to my passenger side to to talk to me and not be facing the cars. And so he wouldn't come up to my window. He was where the middle is between my window and the back window, and
angle.
Had his thing over this.
That's weird.
And I started hyper, I was my body knew before my mind even knew. I was just
He's doing something weird.
He kind of started doing the whole you're not going to get out of this ticket.
Ew.
And I was I just want you to leave me alone. I literally and he was asking for my insurance, and I was fumbling my insurance because I didn't want to reach. I didn't want to reach into anything, so I was trying to get it up on my phone because I already had my phone on.
Good for you.
I didn't want to dig through shit, so I trying to pull my phone up.
Good for you.
And he ended up giving me a ticket for having no insurance because I couldn't pull it up. And then he was just he was why are you crying? And I was because I'm afraid. And then I was saying he was where are you coming from? And I said work. And he was just drilling me because I guess the time I was coming home was not normal work hours, which makes sense because I'm a shift worker. I don't know if you know this, but the hospital staff 24 hours. Crazy, I know. And so then I started I literally started having a panic attack, and he walked away while I was having the panic attack.
He just wanted to get you there.
He gave me the ticket. He walked away. He was just I need you, whatever. And I couldn't pull off because I was hyperventilating. So he comes back up to the car after a couple of minutes of me not pulling off because they're not supposed to pull off.
Yeah, they have to wait
until you pull off. And he was what's going on? And I was just I don't feel good to drive. And he was just I'm going to follow you off the highway. I don't want your death in my hands. Let's go. And he just drove off. I was having a panic attack. He just as soon as I got off the first exit, he just pulled off. But it's you can sense it in your body when someone's just looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He was trying to make you uncomfortable.
It was more than trying to make me uncomfortable.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. To me, I'm just anytime you don't want your body cam showing what's going on, now we've crossed into
and you know that you're doing it on purpose.
And then I ended up not getting the ticket because, when you get one of those tickets, you just have to show proof of insurance.
Right.
To me, the body cam almost doesn't matter. What matters is that he's a man, a full-grown man, and your presence is scaring a woman so much that she's hyperventilating, crying, and you're fucking cool with it.
He's offended.
He's
offended.
Good. Right. It makes him disgusted.
He's disgusted.
That is fucking offended. Terrifying to me.
Yeah.
That is so against everything we are taught growing up. It's just fucking so fucked up to me.
the lip belt was not for him. That was for Javae. Just in case anybody would ever think that I would.
No, feel bad for the policeman.
but like, anyways, it's just like. So for her too, it's like, I know second, I know it took, first of all, her being, if she really does have schizophrenia or mental illness, that's probably the only fucking reason she called, because I think a lot of black people would be too afraid. No, but just like would even be too afraid to call. Like even that. And then 2, you thought something was wrong. And then 3, I've definitely encountered policemen who are personally offended when you don't believe them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the second that she started asking questions, it was... No,
it was on.
No, it's most police officers, like even good ones that like they hate being questioned or good. I'm going to say like in that way.
Them.
Yeah,
that's like
they're offended. Like how dare you?
Just
it's same with that guy who's like offended. Like 1, you're an asshole. 2, you're getting off on the power. But 3, like there's something offensive to you about the fact that I'm afraid of you. It's like the stereotyping thing, or like the I don't respect your power, or like I just believe. I don't even know. But there's just something about it that feels personal to them.
Electing a black woman. Have you seen all those like posts and memes about like we're putting a black woman in office and on the same day like a black woman got shot? Like that's like such an oxymoron.
No, I just seen all the things about people talking shit about her being a cop.
That too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awful. I'm sure he'll get his justice, and
he's
fucked degree. Actually.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, that's progress, I guess.
Take that man off. Yeah.
People say like, why do we need body cams? It's like this.
Do people still fucking say that?
Yes.
Because holy shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cops do not want there to be body cams.
No, and I can see why.
And also, to be fair to just them as workers, like
it's annoying.
Anybody who's working and being recorded the whole time they're working, like there's nobody who actually plans on being productive their whole work day. So to give most people the benefit of the doubt, they're probably just pissed because they can't bullshit the same amount they were bullshitting. Yep. But for the small percentage where it's for something different,
it matters.
I had a cop tell me he actually kind of laid down one. This is one who I'll consider one of the good ones. He's on my show, so you kind of get to know him. And he's like, what's really fucked up about the body cams is like, I pull over people who I would let go on a million little things, like he's a little bit over the DUI limit, let's say, but he's 2 blocks from his house, kind of thing. Like, he's like all that shit you would have let go in the past. Yeah. I can't. Like, I actually can't anymore because of the liability. Like, I'll get fucked. So he's like, never thought
about that.
He said it blew me away too. But he goes, I'm serious. It sucks. He's like, there's times that I have to like bring the hammer down on people that I feel like shit about.
Turn that shit off.
Mm-hmm.
No, I believe that.
I know.
Because it's also like
you'll get in big trouble.
There's a really good chance no one will ever look at your body cam. But if that kid like pulls off and kills someone in the next block, it's just like there's so much like if anything goes wrong, it's like you could have stopped that.
If somebody makes a claim now. And you don't,
And now you say everyone's trying to trap them. Like it is a hard fucking job. Like you gotta be honest about that.
I genuinely think it's the personal offensive. Like I'm just here doing my job, and you're literally crying because I pulled up because you believe the bullshit rhetoric about police officers. That was
probably how they take it.
That is probably how he takes it. And like for me, it's like there was another time I got pulled over in Bloomington, and I was speeding, was going 7 over, and then I'm not getting a ticket. He pulled me over, and I didn't cry at all because he just felt like a human. You don't even like literally tell when someone comes to your car.
Yes, of course.
So he's like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "I'm literally heading to my mom's, which is like a mile away." And he's like, "Are you speeding? Do you know what you were going?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't." And he was like, "How could you not be paying it?" He goes.
No, it's right.
He goes. You were paying so little attention that you didn't notice that there was a cop behind you. And then I was like, "You want me to drive differently when cops are around?" And then he laughed, and we had like a human exchange. And then he was just like, "Stop eating and driving. Just get home." Because I had like a Jimmy John sandwich. Like I was like, But I was like, even if I would have got the ticket or not, I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
Like he felt like a human.
It matters less about like.
I just felt like a human pulled me over and saw another human and was trying to decide whether or not they wanted to give this person a ticket.
Yeah.
I think that's really well put.
It was like not scary.
Yeah.
I was not scared.
Exactly.
This happened in the same year, by the way.
Exactly.
I got pulled over a lot more when I was living in Bloomington. Shocker. All right, last topic we want to talk about before we get out of here. because I do have a client at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'm not saying I have to go to bed early, but
sort of.
I don't want to be exhausted. I have to be in by 9.
That's early. In the office at 9 is early.
Yeah, I'm telling myself I'm going to go to a team meeting. I don't know if I actually will, but
you guys, her life is really hard.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
I can.
Life is hard.
The other thing that's happened since the last time we shot is that Biden has stepped down and Kamala Harris has been endorsed by him. She's not officially the nominee, but
she has all the delegates now.
Has she?
She got all the delegates.
Today is the July 24th.
She got all the delegates. And you were correct. Javae and I had a conversation. She was showing me a video and telling me how, I think your mom was telling you, how the Republicans were going to like put up a fuss about it. And she was right. You were right. They are. They're suing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the suing is around that all of the money that the Biden ticket accrued, which Kamala Harris was on the ticket, but she wasn't the front runner.
It's like 84. How much money is it?
84 million or something like that. The money that they accrued, the Democrats are saying that because Kamala Harris was on the ticket, she can technically use it. The Republicans are pushing back and saying, hey, she was on the ticket, but she wasn't the person they were voting for. So she doesn't just get that money. It's supposed to sit in limbo.
Which is false, right?
It's up for debate.
Why is it up for debate? Isn't there a rule?
The rule is that the money goes to who it was raised for. But in
that's
theory,
why she needs the delegates too.
Well, in theory, the money was raised for Biden, not her.
Not her.
But they're saying it was raised for both
their
of
ticket.
Them. Their ticket. And she's on the ticket, so she gets to do that. So they're
LOL.
tying that up in court. But
it won't go through. It won't do anything, right?
From what I was reading about it, the amount of time it would take for it to, quote, go through or be, like, stopped would be until, like, late October.
She'd be almost elected by then.
It would be, like, if they want to get tied up logistically, they can, but there's no, like, legal precedent that says, like, we're going to tell you right now to stop spending the money. But they might not. They could probably just set that money aside anyways because she's earned so much campaign funds in the last couple of days, and it's a crazy amount.
Yeah, isn't it, like, the most that any...
In that amount of time.
Yes, in like 72 hours or something.
Yeah. So,
what do we think? What do you think? First reactions, guys. What do we think?
My first reaction is that I feel like she was propositioned as such like a background character that I don't feel like I actually know her stance on much, to be honest.
That's fair.
Like I know her history around like that she was a prosecutor. I know a lot of Black people are pretty pissy about that.
Look at that fine ass man up there.
Me, not
yeah,
Trump.
not Biden, not
I feel like people are pretty pissy about it. I don't know. I think like she's a better option than Biden. I don't know in terms of like electability and all of those politics, but in terms of like me personally, like if I could take Biden, the exact same person, and be like, but do you want him in like a 20 years younger Black woman version? They're gonna have the same, like similar thoughts, but like that.
I do want that.
I'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
I'll take her, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, yeah. And so like, I got to hear more about like how she feels and what she says. I do think she's going to tear it up in the debates.
It's going to be so great.
That's what's going to be great.
SNL's
I can't
back, baby.
wait to watch the debates.
She's back, baby.
Fuck it up in the debates. Can't wait.
Maya Rudolph is about to fuck it up as Kamala.
And he's saying like, oh, I want to go to Fox News. She could go to Fox News.
Right.
She could do it.
She could take
That's fine. She can handle it.
She talks moderate well.
She's great in those ways. I watched Trump's first speech about her, which was last night.
Yeah.
And he's calling her lying Harris or something. So he's already trying to get that kind of thing going. And he was saying word for word, like she is the person behind all of Biden's failed leftist policies. Like she is the most left presidential candidate ever. He started off by saying, congratulations, we defeated the worst president in history. He dropped out because he's a loser. And
Did you see what JD Vance said about her being like not like a
DEI?
Not like a welfare queen, but essentially saying like
there was some DEI candidate stuff thrown at her too, like diversity and equity. Like she only even got on the ballot because she's a diversity candidate.
Yes.
She doesn't have
That's
any
what DEI
standing.
means.
Yeah.
Really? You didn't know?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Diversity. Oh, you don't ever work in corporate.
That's
diversity,
right.
equity, and inclusion
initiatives. That's what people
Jesus. Do. Can I ask you guys a couple of hard questions on this election stuff? Because, I mean, how are we talking? Like, you must be seeing. Okay, are you seeing in your personal lives this wave of Black support for Trump?
Not in my personal life.
Okay. In
my personal life, I'm seeing a wave of it doesn't matter who's president. I actually don't think it's just a black thing, but black people I know are really glomping onto it doesn't matter who's president. I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
Like, I mean, to me, that's why they're going to lose is because it's like.
But now I'm seeing, and this could just be rhetoric.
I think this could energize it.
I'm seeing a lot of Gen Z saying, well, I'd rather vote for her. I'll vote for her.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of Gen Z saying that.
I think people are weighing the thing, but it's like Palestine is like the issue, but I also feel like people know that with Project 2025 and just the state of like fascism in the like.
Well, Trump is saying he's not about Project 2025. That was false. So who knows if that's true or not? But he's denying that,
and we're already living it. So it doesn't.
Is the black community going to get behind Kamala? Because it used to be really tough.
Yeah,
on her.
Black women are behind her.
Black women are.
Did you hear about how much she raised? That was all like people. Like, wasn't that all black women or mostly black women or something?
I have no idea.
On the call,
I think it'll just be really hard. I really think she's just been like a side character in the back that they've been purposely not highlighting, and so it'll be really interesting to see the response when she's highlighted. I like literally feel like this is the most conversation about her since he ran the first time.
It's the most we've seen her on TV.
Yeah,
it's like she's been on magazine covers, like anything.
Yeah,
nobody gave a fuck about, and they didn't want people to give a fuck about what she said.
No,
I bet she was really sexy, like when she was like 40.
Have you seen the pictures of her dating?
You don't hear people calling her a throat goat and saying she was ruining marriages.
Really?
What's his name? She was dating the mayor of San Francisco or something like that. Well, he was married.
Yeah. I just like she's so like intelligent.
Who's the comedian? I don't know. He's a black comedian who had a talk show in like the 90s. Montel. She dated Montel Williams.
Oh, fuck.
Have you seen that thing? She's in that dress and her titties are out and they're sitting up here. She's
like, a bad bitch.
She was a bad bitch.
They're already being like, they're already doing the like homewrecker whore thing.
Yeah.
Already. Because she also doesn't have any biological
to the guy who's fucking admitted to rape, basically. Or
and
like,
they all have like, she doesn't have biological kids, so they're also doing the bitter woman. She's bitter mother. She's not a mother. She's not nurturing. She's bitter.
And that's what people like don't, like, you can dislike her without being racist, misogynist, or not even dislike her, but like not like be critical of her like policy or whatever it is without being all this.
Who do you guys want him to pick for a running mate for her?
Well, Governor Walz is up. People are saying that took a meeting with her.
Bad choice.
And
I have no idea. I don't care.
Okay,
he's
really?
too
sorry.
I say dust off Al Franken.
People are
Why?
Because didn't he have like a fucking rape allegation?
See, you don't even know the goddamn story. He did a joke picture hovering his hands over her tits.
Can I say how I feel about Al Franken?
It's going to be Pete Buttigieg.
Sure.
You know how I feel about the Al Franken thing is like, you got a little bit of flack and you literally bowed out. So no, you're not going to be the fucking VP.
That's true, but you got to remember how it was like in society at that time. His whole party turned against him.
Yeah.
Because they did because of that pressure. But now I'm saying Trump would have no bullets. It's the one guy he can run against who couldn't.
She can't have an old man. She can't. She has to pick somebody.
It has to be an old white man.
No, it can't be an old white man. If she picks an old white man, then people are going to say, well, she's literally just putting by, like, she has to pick somebody who's going to be like.
I think it'll be Buttigieg or whatever.
But
I literally think it doesn't matter. I truly
matters a shitload.
I think so too.
I don't think it matters. I think people have already decided who they're voting for. I think everybody who's going to vote for Biden is going to vote for her, and it'll just be, can she rally enough people who we're going to sit it out to vote?
But I think
that's why it matters.
But like if Buttigieg, he's gay, so I feel like she'll lose a lot of the black vote in that way.
But he's Ohio.
He is Ohio,
and we need to win Ohio.
People really like him. People like he's like a moderate like.
In a fucked up way, I think Vance could win Ohio even if Buttigieg was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that's true, but they could split it up a little bit where they make that competitive. I don't know.
We're saying what's the name? Shapiro, but they can't have two Zionists on the ticket. They will.
No.
So here's how I feel. I feel like I was talking to my mom about this, right? Because I was just like, I just feel like I need to process it. I talked to Rachel about it on Monday. I talked to my mom about it. And I was just like, this is overwhelming for me, how much everything's changing. I just like.
It's too much.
Yeah. And she was saying, and I kind of agree, like, there's a lot of people who aren't going to vote because they feel like it doesn't matter. And we were kind of joking, but not joking about, like, the Democrats should do what the Republicans do and, like, do a fear campaign. Because, like, fear is, like, what makes people, like, show up to the polls.
No, they should. If
and
they were smart.
So we were thinking, like, what Republican policies are, like, things that have been kind of, like, put out recently? Could they do, like,
to get Democrats
scare
to vote.
people? Yeah, like what would be the commercial, like outrageous or not?
Wouldn't it be not overplaying Project 2025? Like putting that in commercials and like, this is the hellscape that will be America.
I feel like they should literally have like this girl having like a white woman.
Yes.
Having having a miscarriage on the toilet and she's like crying and she's like on the phone with the doctor.
And her kids are having a birthday party.
No. And she's like having a miscarriage and then like on the toilet and she's like crying. And then like she calls the emergency line and they're like talking her through it. And then she's like finally gets through it. She's going down. She's laying in for bed. And then they get a knock on the door and it's the police dragging her out because they think she did a home abortion.
And you get like a shot of the doctor shaking their head
the
because they had
be masturbating to that video.
Literally.
That's like, yeah.
But you're trying to scare white women. You're trying to scare women. You're not trying to scare Republicans. We're not trying to sway any Republicans. We're just trying to get the people who weren't going to vote. They should have like...
And you want the undecideds.
They should have like an interracial family like they do for all the like Glade commercials and stuff. And they should have that normal interracial family. And they should have the police come in and like arrest the dad and mom because like they made interracial marriage illegal again. Because J.D. Vance was pushing against one of the amendments that made interracial marriage legal. Because that's the same exact one that made gay marriage legal. So like all of that together,
Ben
like
Carson's
they're trying to push against that. So that would go away. And when I think about that, like if interracial marriage became illegal, like think about even like a fucking mortgage. What are we doing? Like for all the people who are already married, like just scare the shit out of people.
Hold on. I got one.
Okay.
Take all the fine ass mixed like women and men in this world, right?
Yes. That are
some of our finest fucking people
that are fetishized to the highest.
Yep. And make a commercial of all of them just like vanishing like that Back to the Future picture or whatever. And go like, if the Republicans have their way.
Black men would hustle to the polls.
Yep. Like if they have their way, these people won't even exist.
Could you imagine? We just have to make commercials to black men that say no more snow bunnies.
No more white women, guys.
It's illegal.
Dangle
no more
the
dumpy
carrot.
white women.
There's no more white women to live off of.
Yep. You got to pay your own cell phone bill, motherfucker. This is like, oh my God. And then actually, this is a real one. This is a real one, though.
Okay.
I just heard that he's already designated the Treasury Secretary, I believe to be Leon Black, who's head of BlackRock.
Of course.
Which is fucking terrifying. And then another dude for...
When did this come out?
Well, I heard it today.
It's just really funny because there's conspiracy theories that BlackRock is connected to the guy who attempted his assassination. So it would be really funny if he survived through that and then he ended up having to give it to
maybe that's why he had to buy him.
It's like that Illuminati bullshit.
But he's giving away the country to the oligarchs.
Yeah, he
is. Like he's actually that's how he's trying to win.
That's what he did last time, though.
He did, but not to this extent. Like this is getting creepy. Like super creepy, where I don't know how anyone says he's a... And then it's all conflicting because of the deep state shit, too.
Drain the swamp.
I hate it all.
But wait, were you going to tell the commercial? What was the commercial?
No, I'm just going to sit with the mixed people one.
Oh, yeah, you didn't tell that one. That was the mixed one.
Yeah.
There's another one, too, where I feel like they can come and, like, although, again, Republicans are going to be jacking off to this.
If you do something about gay marriage or something.
I was like, there has to be, like, the hillbilly, like hickish farm guy who's like with his trans or gay grandson and they're like together and then he gets like pulled out and like jailed for like finding a way to get like medication.
Or like it's like the two gay dads who have like a son and like they come and take away the child or some shit like that. Or like
or the teacher who gets jailed for not teaching the Bible.
Yes.
Because you know how in like Oklahoma you have to teach the Bible. They're gonna try to make that shit federal. Like just scare the shit out of people. Like this, because the thing is there's so many people who, as much as everyone wants to bitch about America, there's enough people in America who are living comfortably that they don't think this is really gonna affect them. And that's people you gotta fucking scare.
Ooh, I got another one.
Okay,
because of the values, right? So first of all, you got to trap them into saying, so, you always want to trap them into taking positions live, like in a town hall. Mm-hmm. So you go, if you ask any Republican president about step porn, like having sex with a stepsister, or stepmom, whatever.
Yeah.
You ask them like, if you're elected, will you stop or will you ban step porn? And they'll go, well, yeah, of course I would. That's disgusting. But it's the most searched porn in the world. So I think everyone would like secretly go like, what? Like they're going to take away step porn.
They're all going to fucking
And I'd be like, yeah, it would be the most low-key, revolution in the world.
But the issue is that people don't actually think the president has the power to do that. That's part of the reason they're not voting. Because they're like, this
But he could.
Right, and the problem is that Trump will exercise his rights as the president.
They'll do executive orders.
He won't have restraint.
And the point is, they always say shit that, just like they love saying with abortion, like, we're just not going to, like, well, sorry, we don't want abortions after 8.5 months. It's like, I've never met a Democrat in my life who fucking has advocated for that. Like, hey, maybe you have to leave room for it for certain things, like medical. Yeah. But no one's fucking saying that they want
Anybody who carried a baby 8 months wants that baby.
Yes.
Everybody who carried it 8 months wants that baby.
Andrew Schultz posted that stupid ass question.
Yeah.
I was like,
Andrew Schultz posted something about
he's
how
a fucking idiot.
He posted
I like him.
He posted something about like how Biden like basically got thrown a softball because Trump had said like 8-month abortions, and like his whole point, I guess, because I listened to him talk about it on the podcast, because that also pissed me off. I guess his whole point he was trying to say, who knows, he could just be saying it retroactively, is that like that was a softball. Like it was so easy for Biden to say like, of course nobody supports abortions at 8 months, and like he couldn't even say that.
It was stupid.
But to me, I just feel like everyone was there was a lot of nitpicking of Biden going on and being like, the reason why people are supporting Trump is because of how poor this decision is. And so it'll be really interesting now that it's not just two old white men to see how many people were just using that as an excuse. And that's not really how you felt. You were just using that because it was a good party line.
Watch them duck debates now. Yeah. Like it's going to be horror. And like truly, it could be his undoing because he is also senile. Biden was just more senile, so it overshadowed him.
Absolutely.
He's also senile. So,
and we'll end on that because that's good news. All right. See you guys next week.
Oh my God. It's been like coming on full blast today. It's like my ears breathe at the end.
It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna.
NBC. No relation to NBC.